ground, so he smacks it with his saw. And oh my god, that's where you put the MacGuffin. They put it in there and nothing happens. Oh my god, Tina isn't the chosen one after all. Atlas and his goons enter from behind an invisible tech wall because they were watching the whole time. Atlas has the same delivery as Tommy Wiseau from The Room, and I'm being 100% serious. He sounds exactly the same. It's so weird. You survived the worst planet in the galaxy. You found the key and the vault itself. They betrayed me. They didn't keep their promise. Between me and I don't care anymore. Like, what the hell? Turns out Lilith is the special one, not Tina. She's the Firehawk. Look at Lilith's face as she turns with her sweet new wings of fire. There's something seriously wrong with it. Why is her face drooping so much? She's melting! Quick, put the wings out! Lilith gives her friends little force fields. Can she do that in the game? I don't know.
It's holiday season. Magic. It's like everything you do now creates something special. Turns into more moments in everyone around us. Making the holidays memorable for over 125 years.
Remember in Star Wars The Last Jedi, when the rebel ship pierces the First Order ship by going hyperspeed into it? Well, for some weird reason, Lilith thinks she can do the same thing, and she tries to ram the Atlas ship with her body. Bold plan. Let's see if it works out for her. No. Clearly it didn't. After negating a shit ton of fall damage, she deflects a laser from the ship back at the ship and destroys it. During this final encounter, Krieg gets his mask damaged. When he's wearing the mask, he has an eye patch on underneath. But when the mask is damaged, it's revealed that there was no point for the eye patch because his eye is perfectly fine. Maybe he wore it for style. Character in this year. We then enter the vault. Oh my god, it's so exciting. And it turns out to be a giant blue room with floating rocks. It looks like shit. A tentacle monster kills Atlas, the most unsatisfying big baddie death in the history of cinema. I didn't hate him. I didn't like him. I felt completely apathetic towards him. Watching him die meant nothing to me because he did nothing throughout the movie. They couldn't have put in at least one more scene of him doing something evil? Like, what the hell? He did practically nothing in the movie, and we're supposed to, like, cheer when he dies?
Hated you, temple level. What an asshole.
Okay. They can do something else. Oh man, he's rich. He's a rich Corpo guy, so we have to kill him. And all rich people are evil. Well, they are. We're not going to get into that. At the end of the movie, the group watches fireworks, kind of like in Star Wars, and Lilith has a final quip about being too old.
Come on. I'm getting old. I think to be setting myself on fire for your amusement.
The movie's got to remind us that it's self-aware. Alright guys, I'm done talking about this dumb movie. I thought it was so bad. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comment section down below. Again, thank you so much to Game of Thrones Legends for sponsoring this video. Click the link at the top of the description or scan the QR code to get 50 gold, 3,000 food, and a daily summon token to start your journey. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. I'm sorry for putting you to the cloud trap thing at the end. They did it in the movie too. If I had to see it, you had to see it, goddamn. You
thought Elvis the Alien wouldn't make another video on the terrible Halo series. How long were you?
Alright, I know some of you out there knew that this was going to happen, okay?
You gonna stop me or something?
Just like John and his special glowing rocks, it was destined for me to make this video.
Haven't you blue idiots learned anything yet?
Yes, today we're talking about Halo Season 2. Some time ago, I made a very long video on Season 1. And let's just say I had some problems with it. Hello, everyone. I am sad to report that the Halo show is bad. Halo is a fascinating show to me because it somehow accomplishes saying 100 things and nothing at the same time. So far, it's a 2-season origin story, and I'm not joking. It's still an origin story, and it continues to be an origin story until the last episode of this season. What makes it worse is the piss-poor character development. It feels like the showrunners were expecting this show to go on for 8 to 10 seasons, because for some reason the pace to the story is like frozen molasses. You wait 10 years for it to thaw, and then when it finally does, you gotta wait another 10 years for it to drip out the bottom. Let me be clear, I don't want this show to fail. I like Halo. It's just a shame they want to drag this show on as much as possible before getting to the good parts. There are 2 moments during this season where I'm like, hell yeah, this is pretty cool. All the rest of it felt like filler.
Make no mistake. We want our wish. This one. There's no question. Where do we belong? This way. Sniffing was into the medical. Without your help, Lenny, you would surely die. I can't leave it. But you can. The stars are not looking out.
It's good to see you. How did you know I'd come?
I knew it. The storm was coming. Not one of this earth, but one of my own making. It's not yours. It's Jimmy.
I would feel it in my heart if it's that stopped behind that stopped. As with the heart is, it's also the place where it's going broken.
So.
It felt like I was watching One Piece or something. Remember that batshit insane decision they made during the finale of Season 1, where they kind of just took Chief out of the equation entirely and put Cortana in charge so she could finish the fight for him? Yeah, they start Season 2 off by removing Cortana from Chief.
Cortana's system that was never intended to be.
It's pretty hilarious. They're probably like, oh, this is not gonna work. We should probably take her out.
I need you to do me a favor. Stop talking.
And then we get this mission on Planet Sanctuary. Surprisingly, the Spartans are in their armor. Don't get used to it, because just like in Season 1, it doesn't last long. Now for a quick word from today's sponsor. This video is brought to you by Factor. Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep. Factor takes the stress out of meal planning. Factor cuts down on grocery trips and cooking, so there's more time for me to make videos or work on personal projects. And you still get chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals delivered straight to your front door, with over 35 meals to choose from, including options for keto, calorie smart, vegan, or veggie 50. Their meals are incredibly convenient. They only take 2 minutes to make, so that frees up a lot of time during the day. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper, and cheaper by a lot if you use my code. Head to Factor75.com or click the link below and use code ETA50 to get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month of orders. That's code ETA50 at Factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month of orders. Thank you so much to Factor for sponsoring this video and for keeping me full when I'm busy. Now back to the review. The intro sequence is a little bit better this time around. The music is more reminiscent of the classic Halo theme. I'm not a huge fan of the particle effects, but I don't know, it was fine. For those that don't remember, there are 4 Spartans in Silver Team, which is Master Chief's team. There's Kai, Vanek, Riz, and John. We learn that Vanek likes to watch Animal Planet or something. He has a thing for animals. They try to do something with this later on. It doesn't hit at all. We'll get there. I guess all of Silver Team decided to remove their chips. You know, those pleasure dampening chips they had installed in their van. Which is strange because in the first season, Vanek was very much against removing this chip. But whatever, he did a complete 180 sometime between the first season and this season.
Yes, I don't ask questions like that.
Chief attempts to save some Marines in this episode. They're fighting for their lives in a bunch of fog. There's a bunch of energy sword that leaks around, and it's pretty cool. Chief tries to save these guys, but he mostly fails. All of them die except for one, Corporal Perez. And she's very important in this season. Except, not really. Perez has the weirdest character development in the show. She starts training to become a Spartan, and then she forms a bond with Kai, and then they start attacking the Covenant. I guess they use her character as a way to, like, put the audience in the shoes of a regular person fighting the Covenant. You know, and that should be very scary. And I get that, but it felt like that was her only purpose in the show. Aside from that, she's basically no one. Oh, the Covenant start blasting the planet with huge lasers. We learned that Madrigal was completely destroyed by the Covenant. Remember how important Madrigal was in Season 1? They based Quan's entire character arc around the planet. Oh my god, are you kidding me? The same woman that John sacrificed everything to save, she wanted to follow in her father's footsteps. I already said this in the first video, but it's just kind of strange that she doesn't want revenge of the Covenant because, you know, the Covenant gives everybody she loved. But anyway, remember there was this evil dictator guy that was sent down to Madrigal to, like, control it, I guess? And there was this whole thing with Quan and Soren killing him and saving Madrigal. Well, all of that can get thrown down the toilet because, holy shit, the planet's just gone now, I suppose. Are you kidding me? They don't even show it happening. The planet is just gone. Okay then, wow, that felt like a lot of wasted time then, I suppose. So Quan's mission was complete failure, I guess. They could have gone so many different routes with this, and they decided to just erase the planet. Like, I wasn't a fan of Madrigal and that whole plot thread already, but since they already had it in there, you can't just throw it away and hope people forget about it. You gotta do something with it, you know? Why didn't they just make Quan the new leader of Madrigal? Don't destroy the planet. You could have her strike a deal with the UNSC or something to fight the Covenant together, and in return, Madrigal will be granted sovereignty. In the beginning of this season, you could have Quan and the Madrigal locals fight back against the UNSC or something, until eventually the Covenant becomes more of a threat to humanity as a whole, so they're forced to work together. And it could be cool to see humanity come together to fight this greater evil. I don't know. Just something like that. And I'm just spitballing here, obviously, but it would have been better than just destroying the planet outright, which makes practically half of Season 1 irrelevant now. It's so weird. Now, I know Madrigal wasn't exactly the most advanced planet. They don't have, like, a Starfleet or anything. They could have been trained by the Spartans or something, which would have been better than this random woman named Perez that Master Chief saved out of nowhere in Episode 1. Why aren't they working with what they already have? They just erased what they have, and they're creating something new. The UNSC replaced Halsey with some guy named James Ackerson. John has a meeting with Ackerson. During this meeting, we learn that John thinks that the Covenant are training for something. The screen cuts to black very abruptly.
I wasn't even mad when my sister gifted me the Verb High Hydration Kit for my quote-unquote frizzy hair, because we both knew I needed help, and help I received. Look at my shiny, healthy hair now. It comes with hydration, mask, and styling cream, and it's only got the good stuff in it. Argan oil hydrates, Babasu oil seals it in moisture, ceramide smooth, add shine, and increase elasticity. And there is no doubt in my mind that this holiday season, I am gifting this kit to every single friend that has ever complained of having dry or frizzy hair.
We made a dish called mac and cheese, but it's really made with penne. We just call it mac, like you. Mac.
I think this is probably where they would put a commercial or something, but I found it extremely jarring, and it happens multiple times throughout the show. We then get some scenes.
Oh, bro, get the fuck out of here, bro.
Asteroid. There's this guy who claims he knows where Halsey is. Soren is searching for Halsey because he wants to enact revenge on her for what she did to them as children. This guy, who kind of reminds me of I Hate Everything, is used by Soren to locate Halsey because he claims he knows where she is. It turns out I Hate Everything just set him up, so he's arrested.
So 666. Go on your list.
Apparently, Silver Team is just a bunch of over-emotional goofballs ever since they removed their pellets. So Ackerson does not feel confident to put them out in the field. Chief is experiencing some PTSD, and for some reason he misses that psycho McKee. Chief, what the hell has gotten into you? I know you never forget your first love, but I think John is a special case. This woman was a little weird. She was raised by aliens. He has some visions of her. He believes that he saw her on Sanctuary, and for some unbeknownst reason, he misses Cortana. At the end of season 1, she was pretty useful to him, but the last thing that she did for him was take over his body so she could fight the Covenant while he, slept. Isn't that kind of scary? Why would you want AI right here in your brain that you know could just hijack your body and do whatever she wants with it? And if someone else is controlling her somehow, then you're just a puppet? He did form somewhat of a connection with her, but it wasn't substantial, really, so it's kind of strange that he would miss her. I can definitely see how someone might find artificial intelligence like her useful.
Don't worry, Chief. When I'm through with you, your testicles will be the last thing you have to worry about. Chief, prepare to be coordinated.
Whatever, he's in love with her, I suppose. Why would you yearn to share your brain space with an AI again? You have no privacy when she's around. I can't think of a soul that would miss that aside from, incel. And I would say that matches Master Chief, but they made him have sex, so he can't be an incel, right? Isn't that the rule? No joke? They make Master Chief, the badass from the video games, go to this club place where there's an AI you can dress up however you want. He makes this AI look the way he wants them to look, so he can pretend like he's talking to someone else.
I'm my holographic girlfriend.
I'm just gonna be upfront. I never pictured Master Chief like this, ever, in my entire life. So it's just kind of strange that the official Halo show would depict him this way.
I couldn't help but notice you were looking awfully long at the other guys during training today.
During episode 2, Kai says to Master Chief, it's like they don't trust us. I guess she forgot about all the insubordination and treason that Master Chief committed during season 1. Or maybe the showrunner forgot it. It's just weird that Kai would be confused why the UNSC doesn't trust them. I mean, to be fair, during season 1, after Chief did all this bullshit with Juan, the UNSC was like, well, he's kind of rough around the edges. Give him a break.
Clear us for action. Or I'll find somebody who will.
You threatened to go with it.
No, sir. Respectfully, go fuck yourself up the ass. I am the master motherfucking chief.
John and Kai look at a Spartan team wall that tells them the status of various operations. But instead of being digital, they have this guy whose job it is to change the board. You know how, a fast worker would change the words on one of those signs that face the road? So that's kind of strange, I think. Not exactly the most time-efficient way to go about doing this, but it is what it is. And the only reason they haven't done this way is so John can ask this guy what is going on with Cobalt Team. Oh, and apparently my team is up there too. You see it, right? In the bottom right-hand corner. Sigma team. Yeah, I'm on that team. It isn't always easy being Sigma. It is what it is. Esther Chief on Silver team and whatever. So since Madrigal is gone, what does Quan do in season 2? Well, she's a slave, which is so funny. She's a slave on Rubble, a pirate asteroid. The same pirate asteroid that Master Chief brought Quan to in order to save her from the UNSC. Remember Soren? I know I'm kind of reiterating myself from the first video, but yeah, Soren is John's friend. That was until John betrayed him. So John brought this woman he was trying to save to the guy he betrayed, who's now a pirate. And what happens? She ends up a slave. It's so funny to me how they forced John to save this random woman. He betrayed everybody in his life to save her, only to bring her to one of the most inhospitable places in the galaxy. Are you shitting me? Good job, John. Looks like your mission was a success. Yes. I think it would have been better if Quan was just outright murdered by John, like they wanted him to do in the first season. So instead of being killed by Master Chief, at least she gets to live a life of suffering. They put a tracker in her ear, and she has to rip it out to escape her captor. I think it's so funny how John tasked Soren with looking after this girl, and he was like, yeah, sure, dude. They go through all this shit in season 1. Soren leaves her for dead, only to save her at the end of season 1. After saving her and Madrigal, the planet is destroyed and Quan is sold into slavery. I think Soren was probably not the best choice. It honestly would have been better if Master Chief brought Quan anywhere else than Rubble. Why the hell would he bring her to a pirate-controlled asteroid? It makes no sense. Literally bring her to the next available planet anywhere. Drop her off where there's people and be like, hey, you want a friend? Here you go. She has better chances there than she does on a pirate asteroid. And that's not even putting into account the fact that John betrayed this guy. Come on, dude. It's just so funny to me that Soren didn't uphold this agreement at all. Riz got injured and she's scared to show it. Her trainer is this random retired blind Spartan, and he has some words of wisdom for her. There's more to life than being a Spartan, you know. We learned that Corporal Perez did not corroborate Chief's story about the elites who ambushed them. Yeah, so the elites that ambushed them, they randomly stopped attacking because McKee was there in the shadows and she made them stop. She still likes him a lot. Soren's wife is big mad and wants him back, while Kessler, their son, is bonding with Quan. Halsey is stuck in some sort of simulation with a girl named Julia. We learn that Ackerson is keeping her captive, and this girl Julia is Ackerson's sister. Ackerson also has Cortana. And he's got the special glowing rock. I have to say, I like Cortana's new actress. I think she fits the role better. So Ackerson is trying to take down Chief. Chris is trying to come to terms with the fact that she might not be a Spartan for much longer. Chief travels to Perez's home to get some answers, and he's invited to dinner. One of Perez's brothers asks Chief what his KDR is in a game called Spartan Attack. It's very clever because Halo is based off of a video game, and KDR is a video game term. Killing spree. We learned that Perez lied because she couldn't make sense of why she survived. John is going against orders again in order to save a different Spartan team, Cobalt, who's stuck on range. So we're cleared for combat. This guy has an insubordination issue, I think. Granted, nobody ever listens to Master Chief for some reason. I mean, I wouldn't either based on the random bullshit he tried to pull in season 1. It's hard to blame anybody. For some reason, none of the Marines with battle rifles have any recoil. And these guys are sent into pitch blackness, and they don't have flashlights. They just kind of walk into pitch blackness hoping for the best. Oh my god, we learned that McKee is still alive. Yay! Wait, what? He's alive? Remember when this happened in season 1? I guess she survived that. Spoiler alert, we never learn how, and I am not pleased to see her again. I was very satisfied to know she died in 3 season 1. I thought, hey, without her, season 2 will definitely be improved, right? We watch as she walks up to another glowing rock. Why does this show love glowing rocks so much? Episode 3 starts with Silver Team on Reach. Not gonna lie, I was pretty hyped that they were on Reach, because Reach is pretty important in the Halo lore. But it stops being cool very fast, and I'll explain why. Silver Team is apprehended by the UNSC and brought in for insubordination and a bunch of other things. Chief is suspended from active duty until he passes a psych eval. Apparently, Ackerson was trying to cover up Cobalt's mission by changing their flight plan, which made Chief out to be a crazy person.
This is not all of it. It's all Ackerson.
And apparently there's no records of these changes anywhere. We meet Ackerson's dad, who's going senile, and he explains that he built a bridge.
She never
I could. It's very important. Just kidding, it's not. His dad dies like the next episode.
What in God's holy name are you blabbering about?
When he built a bridge, Soren's wife Lara is doing stuff on Rumble to try and find a way to save her husband. But I don't care. Like, I hardly cared for Soren in the first place. He wasn't likable at all. He felt like a fourth character in every way. He had practically no agency in the show, except for his involvement with Juan, but then they throw that out the window entirely in season 2. This random kid named Kessler, his entire arc is about his son now. Why is this stuff so random? If you're going to have someone kidnapped and then focus the show on how you're going to get that person saved, then you better be damn sure the person that was kidnapped was someone the audience liked. I'm pretty sure in season 1 they were trying to make him out to be like this cool gunslinger guy, like this badass ex-Spartan who's now a pirate king, I guess. He doesn't take shit from anybody. They weren't successful with that. At all. And what's with this random obsession with him trying to find Halsey all of a sudden?
For comfort homes.
He wasn't doing that in season 1, I don't think. His main motivator in season 1 was money. Vaughn was like, hey, I'll give you a bunch of money if you help me. And he was like, sure, alright, let's go.
If I were to give you some money out of my wallet, would that ease the pain?
He wasn't on this mission to try and find Halsey. So weird. I like Fiona O'Shaughnessy. I think she's a good actress. I really loved her in the show Utopia.
So she was whenever hunger strikes, getting this really quick comments. Also try new Thomas Johnny Bites.
It's just too bad her character in this show hinges on a different character that I didn't care all that much for in the first place. And then there's this subplot with Riz and her random instructor. She shows up at his place because I think she likes him, kind of, but then she finds out that he's gay. It's just so random. Gay? Oh, sorry, Riz. You can't Riz, a gay man. She's trying to figure out a life for herself outside the Spartan program, but she's a nothing character. She impacts the story 0%. I'm so confused why the show is trying to develop her. Maybe she'll have an impact in season 3. I'm sure they have this all planned out. You know, it's meticulous. John thinks it's a great idea to knock out the 2 guys who are monitoring him so he can escape and do whatever he wants, which I guess is to go on a solo mission to save Cobalt Team. Why is John Halo so impulsive and stupid in this show? He hardly ever thinks. He just does. He's like a big dumb gorilla trying to get a banana that's on top of a mountain. Like, what the fuck? Guy is desperately trying to defend Chief, but his actions aren't making that very easy. I mean, clearly Ackerson is up to no good too, but still. Juan, Lara, and her son try to steal a ship, but they fail. It's so funny they try to make this grand escape with the ship, but they're like a mile away from the hangar doors, so the doors just close when they steal the ship. It wasn't thought through very well. We also learned that Ackerson believes that victory against the Covenant is impossible. I like Admiral Keyes in this show. What I don't like is how they killed him, and we'll get there. Also, where is Sergeant Johnson? If we don't get the hell out of here.
In the ring.
No, sir.
Then listen up. You had no chance to be afraid before you joined my beloved folk.
I love Sergeant Johnson, but he's just non-existent in this show.
Oh, I know what the Navy's like.
I know, pretty, but we need to get to work. Come on, dude. It's like they took Sergeant Johnson and Keyes from the game and tried to wrap them into one character, Admiral Keyes, in this show. And I like that. Because this guy kind of looks like Sergeant Johnson, but he's named Admiral Keyes. And he gives a speech to the Marines, kind of like Sergeant Johnson would, even though Keyes was out in the field in the games too. It's just one of those changes that makes no sense, really. I think separating that character would have been a lot better, because then you have two characters that could be compelling in different ways. The higher-up guy who's trying to bend for chief, and the sergeant who's in charge of the Marines, who has a fun personality full of bravado.
All you greenhorns wanted to see Covenant up close. This is going to be your lucky day.
While Admiral Keyes should be cold and calculating.
The Covenant kept saying, whoever controls him controls the fate of the universe.
So Lyra put Juan in charge of Kessler, and she's like, take Kessler and escape somehow. And I will give myself up so you can escape. Ackerson places Soren into Halsey's little simulation prison thing. This part I kind of liked. It's interesting, you know, you have this Spartan who's face to face in this place where Halsey has no power, and he can finally confront her about all of his grievances. What's weird about this is that Ackerson has no frame of reference. Unless Soren told him, he doesn't know that Soren is looking for Halsey. But I guess he informed Ackerson off screen, so Ackerson's like, oh, this would be funny, and he puts him in the safe room. I guess he did this as a way to, like, make things uncomfortable for Halsey, just be like a dick, I guess. So Lyra is a pirate prisoner now. This guy that used to work for them is now the captain, I suppose. And his right-hand woman is just Bellatrix Lestrange. Why is this dude wearing a fishnet shirt over his long sleeve? Questionable fashion choice? But hey. So then Juan saves Lyra. I guess she's a psychopathic murderer now, and she single-handedly took out all these pirates with a knife. Whatever. Sure. They had guns, by the way. And the best part is, he abandoned Lyra's kid to save her. I'm sure she would like that. So now this poor little guy is being shipped off to God knows where without a guardian. I guess Juan was like, we'll figure that out later.
Welcome to Critter Cafe, the game where you rescue adorable critters and build your dream cafe on magical gold-leaf vinyl. Customize everything from cozy furniture to your own style. New outfits? Check. Cute accessories? You got it. Navigate puzzles in the magical Otherlands and explore the colorful town of gold-leaf vinyl. Bond with critters and bring them back to your cafe family. Ready to leave the stress behind? Play Critter Cafe now. Available on Nintendo Switch and Steam.
She saved Lyra because she knew that she was going to die if she didn't. I know, that was the point. She put you in charge of her son, so make sure her son is safe. That's what she asked you to do. She didn't ask you to save her, so now her son's in jeopardy, and she's safe. And Lyra is never upset about this, which is so weird. John meets Perez at a church, and she has this random recording from Sanctuary, and it's an elite saying a prayer that she translated somehow. I guess she can speak their language. It's just part of Marine training, you know? You gotta learn the Covenant's language. Everybody knows it. Did you guys know that Vanek has pet pigeons? It's very important. It shows his humanity, the fact that he likes pigeons. Okay. Oh yeah, the city is being destroyed. All the power goes out, so Halsey and Soren are able to escape their prison. The intro to this episode is pretty cool. But Chief doesn't have his armor, so it's just John again, you know, like usual. John throws hands with the Covenant who are invading Reach, and the CGI is a solid 8 out of 10 for the most part. It ranges from 6 to 8, I would say. I don't think a scene has to directly impact the plot to be impactful. But if it doesn't impact the plot, then you better make it impactful. Kind of like this next scene, one of my favorites in the show so far. And it's with this random woman that John and Perez come across. She's holed up in her antique shop, protecting it with a shotgun. She speaks about how the relics of the past matter, and how they tell a story of humanity, and how they even matter, despite the fact that they'll ultimately be destroyed by the Covenant. This one random character impacted me more than anything else in the show. This little old lady and her antique shop, protecting it from an alien invasion with a shotgun. I love that. It's so good. I'm sad to say that's mostly where my praise ends. Not entirely, there's still some little bits here and there that I liked, but let's continue. We get a scene of Halsey and Soren speaking on their past. Halsey tells Soren that he wanted to be a Spartan since he was very young, and that she never had to kidnap him. Soren says, bro, I was 6 years old. And Halsey retorts, so what? You knew you wanted to be a Spartan, even at 6. Do you know how insane you sound? Yeah, okay, psycho lady. Just like when I was 6, I thought I was going to be a Super Saiyan when I grew up. I mean, it kind of panned out. Despite their differences, Halsey and Soren are forced to work together to survive. The fall of Reach is pretty cool, but I think I'm only saying that because it's the fall of Reach, and it has a lot of lore implications. I know I would have loved this scene so much more if Chief and the other Spartans were in their armor. It just sucks that they aren't. This whole part is pretty cool up until Chief and Riz find their way onto a staircase, and then suddenly the flash of their guns look like tiny flashlights, like the effects department forgot to edit this part or something. So remember Riz's trainer, this random blind guy? Well, his gay partner dies, and it's supposed to be this sad moment. But we have one scene with the guy. We don't know him at all. Also, how is this blind guy fighting the Covenant? How is he making his way around?
You show your own gangster drawing. My hands on that.
He's blind. Remember, Joe? Well, he sacrificed himself to destroy a wraith that he couldn't have known was there. I mean, sure, he could probably hear some stuff happening, but it's probably so loud that he couldn't differentiate one thing from the next. Whatever, dude. It's Halo. It's not just an email, if they. McKee shows up with terrible-looking makeup and steals Cortana. John and Riz are told by Bannock that their suits were taken by the UNSC.
Suit up. You was not, Chief.
Great. I audibly sighed when he told them this. This is obviously just an excuse to give us as many scenes as they can without them wearing their suits. I get it, CGI is expensive, and I'm sure it's uncomfortable for the actors to be running around in these suits. That's what you signed up for. It's a Halo show. I don't care if they have to cut it down to 5 episodes and make it sick, you know. Make it a really good 5-episode limited series or something and put all of your budget into it. Make them wear their suits. You know, just because he's wearing a suit doesn't mean he has to be rolling around, sprinting, kicking ass. He could just be there in his suit, and it's still cool because Halo fans like seeing Spartans wearing Halo armor. But he only has it on for 3 episodes of the 8, I think. Maybe 2, I don't remember. I'm not sure, but it feels like he's wearing a suit less this season than he was in the first season. So not only did they ignore the fans, they made it worse. Like what? I'm sure Pablo Schreiber wants his screen time, you know. I want everybody to see my face, because I'm an actor, and I need everybody to know it's me. I'm not saying it's Pablo's fault, okay? I just feel like the showrunners need to hear something. Sometimes less is more. Say Chief takes his helmet off twice in an entire season. For a total of like 5 minutes he has his helmet off. Then people would be so much more invested in what he looks like. And it would be a much cooler moment, wouldn't it? They'd be like, holy shit, this is Chief, this is cool. Like, damn, we don't see this very often. But we'd still be pleased with the rest of the show because we like seeing Master Chief as Master Chief.
In the pause button and connect with nature. Tuscany, never-ending renaissance.
So now it's Keyes, Chief, and the Marines versus the Covenant as the higher-ups escape the planet. I think Chief's presence during this part would be a lot more effective if he were in his armor. But they try and spin it so it's like, oh my god, this is Master Chief without his armor. If he's here without his armor, then that means that we really stand a chance if he believes it. When in reality, I think most of them would be thinking, He's not going to be very useful, is he? I would be a lot more confident if he was in his armor. As this random guy, I guess. If I were a Marine and our planet was being attacked by the Covenant, and Master Chief comes out without armor on, and he's like, alright guys, let's do this. We're probably fucked. It sucks so bad because during this scene, I'm like, this would be kind of cool if Master Chief looked like Master Chief. Later during this episode, some jackals bounce up and deploy their shields. And it's pretty cool. Although Soren should definitely be dead during this scene. Just watch how this plays out. How is this dude alive? I've played all of the Halo games, and there's one thing I know about jackals. They don't fucking miss. There's a part when Keyes is surrounded, and I'm fully expecting them to take him captive, but instead he sacrifices himself so Perez and the rest can leave safely by setting off an explosion directly next to the ship as it's taking off. Not the best plan, but hey.
I can't do it.
I'm pretty sad that we won't be able to see the horrific Blood Keys reveal. That's such an iconic moment from Combat Evolved, and it's just not going to be in the show. So that's cool. It's fun. Yeah. I'm sure they'll replace with something great. They'll probably do it to Perez instead. Who the fuck is this asshole? This random girl that we were just introduced to. Why does this show suck so bad? Also, for some reason, a ton of the Covenant use energy swords in this show. It almost feels like more Covenant use energy swords than they use guns, which is definitely not the case in the games. In the games, it's a very select few that use energy swords. Sometimes you'll have a little group come at you, and they're all using swords. But for the most part, you're fighting Covenant with guns. I guess they just had to give most of the Covenant swords to make it more realistic that these people would survive. Because in a live-action setting, the Covenant can't plunge 50 feet with their swords and kill you. Chief tries using one of these swords to fight them, but he doesn't have any armor on. I guess he forgot. He's not the smartest person alive. He's then shot and almost killed until McKee saves him. What is this, the second time? Why is she here anyway? She just keeps popping up randomly. Is she helping with the invasion or something? It makes no sense. Also, Vanek is killed with a needler, which is pretty cool. I like needlers, but the way it happens is pretty stupid. But he kind of just lets it sit in his chest when he knows what it's about to do. I think if someone lodged a grenade in my chest, I would probably try and take it out and throw it. Maybe Vanek wants to die, so I didn't really think about that. I wish his death was better executed, and I wish we had more time to like Vanek. Through most of Season 1, he's just like this serious asshole, and there's like one scene in Season 2 where he's like, hey, I like animals, did you know that? And he has some friend pigeons, I suppose. Oh, cool. That's not enough, okay? So he dies, and then there's a hole in the ceiling with the pigeons flying around, and it's like, oh my god, those were his friend pigeons. They're here to say goodbye, or something. It's so dumb. I felt nothing when this happened. And what makes this worse is that his death was supposed to cause a ripple effect in the show. It impacts Chief to such a degree that he starts making decisions that he might not have. It would have been really cool if we got to see Vanek and Chief bond before Vanek died. That way when we see Chief all depressed and brooding later on, it kind of makes sense. But to me, it didn't seem like Chief really liked Vanek all that much. He didn't spend all that much time with the guy. And then when he dies, it's like, oh my god, he was like a brother to me. Did you guys know that? I thought that was obvious in the show. I know that they grew up together, okay? And they have a serious military relationship, I suppose. But still, dude, let them bond or something. A loss in a show only works if we cared about that person, or if we cared about the people that cared about that person. But this show does such a terrible job convincing the audience that they're supposed to care about these Spartans. Their banter sucks, and I don't care that he all of a sudden likes animals. It means nothing to me.
I don't give a shit.
It would have been really cool if we got a scene of Bannock preparing for his future in some way, you know? Like, oh, I'm gonna open up a zoo or something because I love animals. It makes it that more impactful when we think something's gonna happen in the future, but it's ripped away from us. Either that or Bannock sacrifices himself to save his friends, which would have worked better if their friendship was stronger, and he was fighting alongside his friends. It's just the fact that the show stripped them of their armor to kill them easier makes it so much worse. If they were in their armor and they took off his helmet and started beating his face with Hulk, that would have been a better death, I think. And have him still fight back even though he's getting his ass beat. Like, that would be so much cooler than a needle in his chest. That we don't get to think of Bannock as a badass. His death was so weak and unceremonious that it ends up kicking the show in the balls. Because later they have this funeral scene, this whole thing about wanting to bury him, but John doesn't want to. John's all sad about it. God, this would all be so much better if his death meant more. Episode 5 starts with armorless Spartans fighting the Covenant. It just doesn't feel the same. I know they're technically Spartans, okay? But it doesn't feel like they're Spartans. Spartans just aren't Spartans without their armor. It's just true, okay? You take Darth Vader out of his armor and you give him a lightsaber. It's not the same, alright? He's just this wrinkly, dying dude. Spartans are in their armor. What doesn't this show understand about that? Hilariously, Riz goes on a suicide rush to retrieve Bannock's body, only to get blasted in the back. Like, what did you think was gonna happen, you dumbass? What a moron. All that to save a corpse. I know it's the principle of it, but like, is his body really worth risking your life for? What should have happened is Bannock stays behind and is getting his ass kicked, but we never see him die, right? But it's very heavily implied that he's dead. Riz isn't sure that he's dead, so Riz tries to save him, but John stops her. Much later in the show, we can see Bannock come back, but he's been infected by the flood. Or they could go the Keys route since Keys is dead, and he can, talk to them through comms, like, oh my god, guys, I'm here, save me. Or he can just talk to them, and then they can try and save him, only to find that he's infected by the flood. That'd be cool, but he's just dead, so yeah, they killed him with the needle. The armor did it.
This was the bravest foe I ever performed in many times. I've known him, friend.
The reason they did it this way is because they wanted to make the Arbiter Master Chief's arch nemesis, and so they had the Arbiter kill Bannock in front of him. I get that, okay? But I still think it would have been better if instead of killing him outright, they did what I said they should have done. But they just showed the Arbiter beating the shit out of Bannock. Maybe cut off his leg or something, you know? Still give Master Chief a reason to hate the Arbiter. But then they couldn't have the funeral scene later. And that's very important, because we have to have Quad bury him. It's very important to give Quad and Master Chief something to talk about. And they have to talk about Bannock's body. What? Chief doesn't want to bury it. It's not the Spartan way. You don't bury Spartans, okay? You just let them rot. It's what the Spartans do. Is that from the books? Is that real? If so, it's stupid. John gets his shit rocked by a hammer-wielding brute. Man, if only he had armor on. He then says, if I just had my armor. They don't say. Yeah, I think everybody watching this is saying that exact thing. I guess we should give the show some points for being self-aware. We then get a scene between the Arbiter and McKee. I can't help but think about how much more I would enjoy this show if McKee didn't exist. The Arbiter is searching for the Keystones, the special glowing rocks that will activate the ring, and he also wants to kill Chief. They spend practically no time developing the Arbiter. He just kind of shows up and he's on a mission. John and Halsey are reunited, and oh, does he have some fiery words for her. McKee then speaks to Cortana about Chief, and Cortana is not to be bossed around. They aren't getting along one bit. They're enemies. Oh my god, I forgot to mention that Chief is reunited with Claude finally, the girl he sacrificed everything to save, and he has all but nothing to say to her. It'd be neat if he apologized for abandoning her with a bunch of pirates. No, I mean, granted, he's still very upset about Bannock's death. Like, doesn't he ask how she's been or what has happened since they separated? Nothing. He doesn't give a shit about this girl all of a sudden. I thought he really liked this girl. He saves her only to abandon her and then act like she never existed. It's so weird. And she doesn't have any words for him either. I know he saved her life technically, but he did so in the worst possible way. It's very strange that Quan doesn't seem very surprised to see Chief. The same guy that she had that vision about that led to the Super Mario play. Remember? That was very important. They meet and she's like, whatever. It's just Master Chief. Lara and Soren try locating their son on this random planet. They ask this guy with a beard if he's seen him, and the man insinuates that he could have been sold for child labor or worse.
Especially if you want to see people live on
If I was Lara, I would throw Quan off a cliff for saving my life and abandoning my child to a life of hell. They find him in this giant book of names almost immediately. It's so weird in shows when there's this giant book, this ledger of some sort, and they open it up and it lands on the page that they want to see, and they go straight to the name, and it's like, oh my god, there they are. Why do shows do this? Why can't they flip the book a little bit, you know? Look for the page. They just open it up directly to the page they need to get to, and they find the name. It's not realistic. John is being a huge douche to Quan, who simply wants to help him bury his friend.
I can't help you.
I can't help you, he says. Damn, bro, chill. I mean, you certainly wanted to help her when everything in your life was at stake. What changed? Oh, your friend died. So now this girl means nothing to you. Okay. This is what losing a friend does to a man, even when you're a Spartan. I know they're supposed to be emotionally inept because they took their little pellets out of their neck or back or whatever, and they didn't have the proper time to develop their emotions, so now they're just a bunch of crime babies. Oh, I hate that. Why do they do that? Such a terrible, terrible decision. Lara takes her wig off because she's done acting fake. Oh my god, it was Jessica Hyde all along. Chris is told by Halsey that she'll never be the soldier that she once was because her injuries are that severe. Chris's entire arc is like, oh my god, I'm hurt, and I won't be a Spartan anymore. What am I going to do with my life?
Should I be a farmer? Should I start playing basketball? I don't know. What should I do with my life now? So, this has never happened to me before.
I'm a Spartan. I should only be a Spartan. But I don't care about Riz. I guess it's kind of a clever way to get rid of Riz, because the show is really trying to get rid of all of Silver Team except for Chief, so Chief can start acting alone like he does in the game. And this doesn't happen until the end of this season. So we have to watch 2 full seasons before we get to anything that kind of resembles the games. Who wrote this show? It's so weird. Why would you write a Halo show like this? Juan speaks to Bennett's body as she's digging a grave for it, and she talks about how she's having a hard time reconciling the loss of magical.
You should grieve an entire planet.
I kind of already said this, but it's pretty hilarious how her entire planet was destroyed off screen, but we don't get to see her reaction to it. It just happens. Soren and Lara find the house that took in Kessler, and he's being cared for by 2 women. Just kidding, Kessler isn't here. This is just a way to count out the show. Although we do get to learn a little bit more about Soren during this part, which I like. It's a little bit more character development for him, so it makes him a little bit more likable. The show tries sometimes, even though it's during random scenes like this. Bannock has this tiny funeral, and it's kind of cute. Afterwards, Halsey tells John that she found him as a boy because she knows that he's the chosen one who will save humanity. And she knows this because the glowing rocks told her so. I already went over this in the first video, but I hate this. The whole chosen one thing, it sucks. Something to do with his DNA or something. The scientists did all this work to figure out which kids would be the perfect Spartans when they grew up. And they knew that John would be the ultimate Spartan when he was 6 years old. They knew. I just can't help but think of midi-chlorians from Star Wars when I watch this shit. Quan speaks to the ghost of the old shaman woman who died at the beginning of the show. Why is Quan receiving a vision from this woman that she never met? I guess because she's a witch. She's a shaman woman. That's what they said at the beginning of the show. This Kareem was like, she's like a shaman or something. I don't know.
She's some sort of shaman priest person or singer priest person.
So she's very important. This random woman, she's a shaman. You know that? She's a witch. So she can talk to Quan. Because Quan is also a chosen one. How many do we have so far? We've got McKee, Quan, John. I'm sure there's got to be another one. Oh, the Arbiter. Speaking of, McKee tries to convince the Arbiter that he's also a chosen one, and he must go to the Halo Ring to claim his rightful place in Destiny. And he believes this due to a hologram of the ring that's shown by Cortana. And he's like, oh my god, this must be fate. It's magic that I'm seeing the ring all of a sudden. It's definitely not just technology. I think the Covenant are pretty advanced. You think that he would know that? He's a pretty gullible guy, I suppose. That's all it takes for him to turn against High Charity. So remember that weird guy that Soren and Lara came across? And when they asked about his son, he was like, you know, he's probably being trafficked.
He's telephone. Ghost biosensor that reveals how exercise and even sleep affect your glucose. Now, tracking your glucose is as easy as tracking the weather.
Lyra goes back and finally does to this guy what I would have done right off the bat. Lyra says to him, "You had a mother, right?" And the guy responds, "Yeah, ding, ding, ding." Correct. You're right. It's the tough questions in this show that get me. Lyra finds out that the UNSC took Kessler.
UNSC.
Riz gives up the fight despite Chief trying to order her around. Like, the woman is a cripple, dude. Give her a break. What would you ever do? Go out into battle in a wheelchair? She decides to stay behind on planet England as the rest fly away. Also, Kai is now working for Ackerson. He had very little trouble convincing her that the Spartans are evil. Basically, Ackerson was just like, "Hey, Chief is not trustworthy. You should try and kill him." And Kai was like, "Hey, I don't think I should do that." And then Ackerson responds, "Are you sure?" And then he's like, "Wait a minute. You're right. I never liked him anyway." Perez is now a Spartan in training. She's part of this new group called the SZN3s. This whole combat simulation scene was pretty cool, I think. Someone gets shot with a needler in this scene, only a couple needles. How come in this show, when people shoot a needler, it's like 1 or 2 needles? When I get shot in the games with a needler, I look like a fucking porcupine after they're done, and then explode 1,000 times and fly up into the sun. This show is not like the games, and it makes me very upset. John and the crew land on a mysterious planet called Onyx. I'm not sure if this planet is from the books. It probably is. I haven't read them myself. They're apparently holding Kessler on this planet. John is convinced that they're making Spartans here. Halsey escapes them off screen. She just runs away. Meanwhile, Quan is having more visions of that random old lady shaman. She leads her to the Super Mario fight from the first season. So Quan jumps down without thinking. Would have been hilarious to kill her here. Just have her splat on the ground. That I would love that. Like, the show's already drowning. What's some comedy here and there, you know? By sheer stupid luck, she's saved by a gravity field. Also, Halsey is down here as well. So that entire vision of the Mario pipe was just to bring her here, so she'll jump down the pipe and find Halsey. But Quan needed another vision of this random shaman to point her to the Mario pipe. I think it would have been better if they did away with the shaman, and instead, Quan just happens upon the pipe and remembers the vision from the first season. Why does she need so many visions? This girl is going crazy. It's like she's constantly high on the hallucinogen. God, if I were her, I would bash my head against a rock. This girl is schizophrenic. Some men start shooting at Quan. I guess it's shoot on sight if any person is near here. So John starts fucking them up. He's then surrounded, but their shoot on sight policy vanishes all of a sudden, so they take him hostage. I guess they recognized him as Chief, so they didn't shoot to kill, even though he isn't in his armor, so that means that these people must recognize his face. Not the smartest move, John. Instead of putting the guy in heavy-duty handcuffs and ankle chains or something, they have like 8 men hold him with cables. They know this is a Spartan, right? Check out how easily he takes care of these guys. What were they doing? This is the weirdest way to restrain someone I've ever seen. Ackerson tells Kai that the Covenant attacked the Visegrad relay to cover their assault so they can capture an artifact, which is one of those glowing rods. But the UNSC was able to save the other one. So remember in Season 1 when all those elites abandoned one of these artifacts to kill a bunch of random humans for no reason? Kind of weird how the artifacts are so valuable to them all of a sudden. The show started off strange. Anyway, McKee is confused why her powers to use the keystones are gone. So why did they keep McKee alive if she's not a blessed one anymore?
I just the artifact coming of it.
I disliked the character McKee so much. Wasn't there already a link between them during Season 1? Like, they were talking to each other on the ring before all this happened. So what changed? Why can't she use the artifact all of a sudden? It makes no sense. Because she was injured? I think they just took away her powers out of nowhere. I don't think this show ever answers that question. So Chief is wandering around this base after kicking the shit out of these men. So I guess there aren't any security cameras after all. Eventually he runs into Kai, and she beats the shit out of him as he tries to break her mind conditioning. But didn't she already do that when she removed the pellet? Kai is very easily manipulated. Earlier in this season, John pleaded with them to believe him. He told them that the UNSC was lying, that they were covering up something. And since he mentioned to Kai that he saw McKee on Sanctuary, that's all it took for Kai to be like, yep, John is insane now. He's a crazy person. He's a schizo. Time to put him down. Isn't you the one that shot McKee? I mean, to be honest, I'm also confused on how McKee is alive. They don't answer that either. She's just alive still. I guess the Covenant delivered one of their healing pods just in time. Cortana is being used by the UNSC's admiral as an informant to gather information about the Covenant and their plans. She tells Chief that McKee is with the Arbiter. And Chief knows that the Arbiter killed Manning, so he wants revenge. Then we get a scene with Soren and his wife looking for their son again. So, this kid came out of nowhere. I don't care about him. I don't. Was this kid even in season 1? Because if he was, I don't remember. No, sir. That's how much I care. Quan and Halsey are off on their side quest doing whatever. And then Quan gets another vision with this old lady that he never met. Kai and Ackerson have their little talks. I just love watching John wander around the galaxy, going from planet to planet, trying to find answers to these questions. He really wants to save Cobalt Team. The same group of people that were complete dickheads to them earlier in the show. We hardly ever see this team in the show, and they're assholes.
They insisted on the most attractive team, so I'm sorry, Liz.
This is the team that John is sacrificing everything to save? What is up with this guy? He begged them not to send them to this planet because he knew that the Covenant were there waiting. And lo and behold, he was right, and the Cobalt team got wiped out, and he tried to save them. They didn't get there in time. This John guy sure likes to put his life on the line for people that he shouldn't care about at all. But that's what makes him a hero. And now John's on this random mission to avenge the death of his friend. His missions just keep changing, don't they? He wants to know what the UNSC is up to. He wants to get this alien. Where's the Cobalt team? Oh, they're dead. I was right all along. Why is everybody so mean to me? Oh, my best friend's dead. Oh, that shit's up. But don't bury them. Apparently, Ackerson intentionally left the Spartans on range without their armor, so they would all be killed.
John said they could not have but that was
But why? Because they knew the truth about Cobalt Team and they could expose them? Is that why? I'm confused. Is it because they weren't controllable enough? You have answers for that, like implantable AI and pellets that control emotions. You can do something about this, but no. This question also isn't answered, really. It's kind of insane that they have sacrificed their most valuable soldier for these reasons. But don't think about that. I knows the truth now. So she likes Chief again. Why did she stop liking Chief? Because a different Spartan shot her? McKee is in hot water with the Covenant. The Arbiter believes that she is his answer to greatness, so he kills all the other Covenant aboard their ship to save her life. So the Arbiter in the Halo show is a massive McKee sim. Did they feel like they had to put this woman in because people couldn't relate to aliens? Is that why? Like, they had to have the Arbiter talking to a human woman because an audience wouldn't like it if he was talking to other aliens. They wouldn't be able to understand or something. They'd be like, oh my god, I'll let you, but I don't like this. I'm not sure if that's exactly why they made that decision, but if it was, they were wrong. I love aliens. Okay, aliens stop being aliens. Even cooler, dude. Anyway, McKee and John touch the glowing rocks at the same time, and it works now. 7 episodes in, and we finally get a scene on a Halo ring. But just like in season 1, it's just a vision. John is like, "You're a human traitor, how dare you?" And McKee responds, "Neither humanity nor the Covenant can use the ring, because both sides will use it for evil." Everybody knows that this ring is a huge weapon that can be used to change the course of the war, but they don't know exactly what the ring does, only that it's a weapon. McKee locates the ring through their shared vision somehow. How did McKee learn of its location now when she didn't learn of it before in season 1, when they shared very similar visions? Or did Cortana locate it during this vision? If that's so, then how come Cortana asks McKee if she found it? And if this is the case, Cortana was with Chief when this happened before, so she should already know its location. How have McKee's powers changed that she can all of a sudden find the ring? I thought she lost her powers. How come she can find the ring now? The UNSC Admiral knows of the location of the ring, and she knows that it's a weapon that they're trying to unlock in the artifacts. So she's sending Spartans to attack them in order to distract them or something. Maybe this weapon is. And all of these Spartan 3s are wiped out immediately. So she's like, send more. Did really the second wave
And the first wife just went in there and killed her second woman.
But the first wife didn't do shit. She thinks sending men into the meat grinder will what? Distract the Covenant from their mission? It's kind of insane to me how fast the Spartan 3s die. Like, they send them in and they die within a minute. But later the UNSC sends in more ships. But this time they last a lot longer. Like, a lot longer. What changed? There's this tiny tuft of hair under Soren's lip, and it bothers me. I just want to mention that.
Holy Jesus.
What's the point in growing facial hair if you're going to keep so little of it? I know I have a neck beard right now, but I wasn't trying to insinuate that my facial hair was better. I'm just saying, it's like he forgot to shave that one spot. Soren remembers a time when he was there for his Spartan friends during their training, and since it's in that same program, he thinks it's best to leave him in there so he can learn similar lessons. You know, about like teamwork and brotherhood and stuff. Wow, are you on drugs, my guy?
What the hell did I do to you?
This ain't a sports team, it's Spartan training. They are cruel as fuck to these kids. It's explained in season 1 that they all got pets, that they're forced to kill.
One point where she pets, but she didn't even like them. She had to sleep with them.
They put inhibitor chips inside of them, so they can't feel anything. And you want that for your son? This show is trying to develop Perez, this random soldier that Chief saved. She's going to be another Spartan friend of Chief's, so that means she's probably going to die, get heavily injured. I would 100% expect that if there's a season 3, Perez is going to be affected by the Covenant. It's just going to happen. And they're going to try and pretend like it's this big shock moment, you know, like, oh my god, I never saw that. We see it. It's going to happen. Either her or not. One of those two are going to be affected by the Covenant. Or McKee. One of those three. But McKee has proven to be deathless. Maybe they're just getting started with Perez, but they'll develop her really well in the next season, just like they did with Quan. If Quan and McKee are anything to go by, then I have my doubts. Quan has this special touch. Quan was destined to be here at this moment. It was fated, and all they have her do is remove a piece of this puzzle after it lit up, so a star system could be displayed in the room. I'm sorry, but there's absolutely no way that these scientists hadn't tried that. So Quan's body must have been the missing link. So lame. Quan being there must have been what lit up this thing. Why Quan, though? She's so random. Everything in the show seems so random most of the time. She had seen these constellations before. She knows how they all should be formed, and they make up a halo ring, which opens a door. So dumb. This part is just so silly to me. Thank you, Visions, for allowing Quan to put this constellation together to form a ring that will open this door. Very nice. This is all part of her destiny. Man, I wonder what Quan's subplot brought us to. It must be very important. I'll tell you what it brought us to. The Flood. Infecting people. So thanks, Quan, for unleashing hell on humanity. Unintentional. The laser grid is pretty cool, though. I remember those from the game. You know it's bad when I have to, like, try to find the fan service in the show. I'm not saying fan service makes a good show, but this show didn't even try. Although, granted, there are a couple moments during the season that I liked. The first episode had some cool moments. The Fall of Reach was interesting, I suppose, even though the lack of armor kind of ruined it. The final episode, though, it has some highlights, even though I still don't like it. This admiral was responsible for all the UNSC's evils, and Ackerson just went along with her orders to let Reach fall and kill Spartans intentionally so they could get a spike into the Covenant fleet to destroy everything. And Ackerson is just her pawn, and he's going along with her orders. When she was very obviously demoted in season 1, how does she have any power left? It's so weird. I know they probably explained it, but man, my mind is just scrambled eggs. Basically, they're going to use a ship's core or something to create a bomb and fly it into this area and explode everything. So then Soren saves his kid, but in doing so he shows him his violent nature, which frightens him. He's taken away despite Soren's efforts. Man, I love this. Keep dragging this random shit out. This show is so annoying because it exists in a time period between the stuff I would like to see. On one side we have all the stuff that makes John a legend, the stuff that made the Covenant call him a demon, which we never see. And then on the other end, we have the games. and I'm fairly certain the fall of Reach in this show is much different than it is in the game, despite the obvious stuff, like the Covenant destroying it. How could they get that wrong? If they got that wrong, I would be very concerned. So this show exists in this, sour spot between the two things I would like to see, showing us what happened to make John a legend, and the cool stuff in the games, And they could just throw some time skips in there to make this work, instead of countless visions. The show loves visions. Honestly, I don't even think this show needed all the stuff that made Master Chief a legend. Maybe just someone commenting on the things that he's done. But they definitely should have showed what made John a demon in the Covenant's eyes. The end of this episode is pretty cool, not gonna lie. It's about time something fun happens. Master Chief is finally in his armor again, and he's flying towards the Covenant fleet. And Kai is with her Spartan 3s going into battle to deliver this spike to end the war. I'm not sure what Master Chief is hoping to achieve here, though. Why is he there? To assist them somehow? To find the Arbiter? His missions throughout this season have been so undercooked and confusing because they're constantly changing. He seems to do nothing but fly by the seat of his pants.
So, we're clear for combat.
And I have to admit, that is very Halo. That does seem to be what he does in the games. At the start of episode 8, John is talking to a mysterious person in his head. Miranda Keyes brings back a device that was held by a dead Forerunner. One of the scientists in the lab touches the artifact, and she starts to show changes. She becomes super aggressive and attacks another scientist. So this is clearly the Flood. I hate this. The Flood reveal in Combat Evolved is so much better, and I know it's in a game format, but still, something similar could have been easily done in a show. But instead they go the Resident Evil route with it. Why did they have to do the whole stereotypical zombie virus outbreak thing? It's so overplayed. I hate it. What was so hard about this? Have it take place on the ring, have the Flood kill some Marines, and Master Chief isn't sure what's going on, he just tries to save them. And he finds the aftermath of what happened to them, and then he gets attacked and he has to find a way to defeat this strange enemy that he's never encountered before. It'd be so cool, especially if he was attacked by the corpse of someone that he once knew. Guy, McKee, Perez, take your pick. All three? That'd be cool. This show makes some of the most baffling decisions I've ever seen. A Halo show should have been a slam dunk, dude. You have books to go by. You have the games to use. If you have to change things up and create your own series of events, then at least make it cool, Come on, man, I'm not asking for much. I love the fact that a Halo show is basically just this guy named John running around trying to find the answer to things without armor on, and all supposed to believe that this is Master Chief. The Halo universe is supposed to fill the viewer with dread. Master Chief is very often by himself, pulling off these missions by himself. Every once in a while he's working with Marines, but still, normally he's surrounded by Covenant, surrounded by the Flood, with the support of Cortana trying his best to figure out a way out of these impossible scenarios. And there's so little of that in this show. This next part is kind of cool. Kai's ship is destroyed, so her and all of her Spartan 3s are blown into space, and it's a pretty tense scene. It's clear that this show puts most of their effects budget into the first and last episodes of the show, because they're practically the only episodes where we see Spartans in armor. So Soren is now on a mission to save Lara and Kessler. I don't care about any of these people. There's this thing with a coin flip and John's luck versus his intent, which I thought was kind of cute. McKee erases Cortana because she's not useful anymore. Wait. But just kidding, she's not actually erased. There's a scene aboard the Covenant cruiser, which is pretty cool. Though I wish we got to see more of the Covenant aboard this ship. It's focused mainly on the Spartan 3s. Perez uses 2 needlers at one point, and I think that's pretty sick. I'm still trying to find ways to complement this show despite everything. Chief shows up to save them all, and I thought that was cool as well. Finally, this show is starting to feel like Halo again after how many hours? Why does this show insist on forcing the viewers to wait hours and hours and hours to show us something we want to see? Kai says this to Master Chief: Spartans never die, but they do, don't they? Master Chief responds, not today. To this, I was like, huh? But like a billion Spartan 3s killed. Doesn't he know that? Or maybe they don't count as Spartans because they're Spartan 3s, not like the cool Spartans. Why they name them Spartan 3s? They must not count as real Spartans. And it's pretty funny that Master Chief says this because this is what happens to Kai. Yeah, she pulls a Star Wars, but it doesn't look as cool. She just rams a ship into another ship, and it all blows up, and Kai's dead. Just kidding, she's alive. Let's just show that explosion again. How do you survive that? Soren and McKee make their way through the UNSC base to find Lara, and the people are acting very strange. They're all standing still and starting to mutate. I think this part is pretty cool, because I think they did that in the games. I think the Flood kind of just like stand there creepily sometimes. John jumps through space to board McKee's ship to save Cortana. You guys remember, guys, he very much misses this AI that took over his brain at one point.
Cortana, my suit is too tight. It's crushing my balls.
There's no way that that could backfire on him in the future, and it's definitely worth him risking his life over, even though he regularly risks his life for dumb reasons, so it kind of makes sense. I should mention that she did save him by opening some doors. I think that's worth risking his life over. This ship is zooming towards Halo, by the way. Why was the Flood on this random planet Lawrence in an underground Forerunner facility? Shouldn't it be on the Halo rings? Like, weren't the Halo rings meant to hold them? The Halo rings were like research facilities and a weapon and a place to store the Flood for research purposes. I think it would have been cooler if the Flood was found on the ring, but that's just me. And I think it would have been cooler if the Flood did start out as like a microorganism that infected people. So stupid. Give us those like blobby head things with the red like nerves sticking out. Those are cool. Do that again. Anyway, John crash lands on the Halo ring and goes searching for McKee. Cortana says, John, why are we here?
Why are we here?
What do you mean, why are you here? You crash landed here. You didn't have much of a choice. John responds, this is where the fight is.
This is where the fight is.
Okay, that works too. But I thought the fight was in space right now. Like, are you just up there? Okay. The Flood completely overtakes this UNSC ship, so the spirit of the old lady is somehow able to hold the Flood off from killing Juan. Is this old woman the hive mind or something? What is this old woman? The writing in the show is so weird. What is happening? Oh yeah, the Flood infects Halsey, by the way. So Miranda shuts her into a cryo chamber. It turns out Lyra's infected too, so she shuts a door between her and Soren and gives herself to the Flood. John finds McKee and the Arbiter, and then a fight breaks out between Chief and the Arbiter. And then Chief kills the Arbiter. Yes, you heard me correct. Chief kills the Arbiter. It feels like they just introduced him, and he's dead. He was such an important character in the games, and to just introduce him to kill him off. It's so dumb. It feels like the people who wrote this show don't even like Halo. They introduced the Arbiter just to spit him out 3 episodes later. It's pretty shitty, unless they're going to find a way to bring him back to life. They did that with McKee, so why not? And Kai seems to be invincible. I don't know what's happening in this show anymore. McKee says, there's so much you don't know. And Master Chief responds, oh yeah? What's that? And McKee says, I'm a demon too. Oh god, so scandalous. Oh, you are? Did you go around slaughtering covenant like they were made of paper? Is that why? Why are you a demon? That makes no sense. Chief continues to speak to this voice in the dark about his purpose.
Why do you fight?
Jesus Lord.
It turns out this voice is 343 Guilty Spark. One last hurrah for this piece of shit. I have to admit, I was pretty excited to see him. Oh my god! It's 343 Guilty Spark. I love him. You know I hate him, but I do love him. It's a weird relationship. Anyway, that's when the show ends. So, it wasn't very good. I don't know if I like it less or more than season 1. Probably about the same. The 343 Guilty Spark reveal was kind of neat, I suppose. It definitely felt like there were budget restraints for this show or something, and that's why they kept Chief out of his armor. But they definitely have real armor for him to wear.
Wearing the suit is one of the great, pleasures and cosplay moments of my life. I mean, I'm the Master Chief.
Man, I can't wait for the next season, when it actually feels like Halo. Who am I kidding? It's gonna suck, and I'll be here to tell you all about it, so subscribe. The thing I liked least about this season was the lack of grunts and their funny banter. They're just gone. I think I saw like 1 or 2. Where were they? Make sure to check out AlienClothing.com, the coolest clothing brand in the world, where you can buy cool alien-related clothing. And if you like Halo, you probably like Aliens, I'm guessing. Where were the grunts?
time. It's delivery time. And when I check in with Pays, my actual card number stays hidden from the restaurant. Pays is for my banks and credit unions.
If we...
And my card numbers stay up to date automatically. So even if I can't find a quiet room...
Did you say party vacuum?
At least I can keep checkout easy.
Meet Pace, online checkout for banks and credit unions.
Gotta sound proud of. I gotta sound proud of, man.
Desert, black leather, and cars. What do you think of when you put those three ingredients together? Only one thing should come to mind if you're cultured at all. That's Mad Max. Leather-based clothing companies around the world have Mad Max to thank for their sales. Because goddamn, these movies made black leather very cool. The best way I can describe the Mad Max movies is So the movie we're going to be talking about today is called Behind You, and it was released in 2020. And yeah, the entire plot is in the title. You know that thing that like a billion other horror movies do? They have a character look in a mirror, and they see something in the mirror, and they're like, oh my god, what is that? And they turn around and, oh god, it's gone! Well, this movie is very brave. It takes that concept and expands upon it. What if the monster was actually there when you turned around and it killed you? Yeah, it's nothing new. I'm so sick of the whole mirror thing. Like, this is an entire movie based around that one simple horror movie trope. It's so silly. Like, that's literally the entire plot. This movie is the definition of terrible horror. It takes every single common and boring, trite, vapid horror movie trope, smashes it together, and it serves all this stuff on a nice, delicious platter of shit. And they're like, hey, it's called Behind You. Get it? Because when you look at a mirror, it's behind you. There's even a breakdown online of the 10 horror movies with deadly mirrors. There's even a movie called Into the Mirror that released in 2003. There's a movie called Mirror Mirror, released in 1990. There's even a movie called Bloody Mary 3D, which is about the whole Bloody Mary thing. You know, you look into a mirror and you say it 3 times. There's a movie called Mirror, released in 2007, and a movie called Mirrors, released in 2008. Guys, I get it. Mirrors are spooky and everything, but please, just give it a rest. There's even a JoJo villain that lives in a mirror. So just like in a million other horror movies, this one starts with someone dying. And in this case, it's a girl that gets killed by the mirror monster. And then 40 years pass, and this woman named Camilla is bringing 2 girls whose mother just died to stay with their Aunt Beth. The older girl is named Olivia, and the younger girl is named Claire. Their aunt is the sister of the girl that died in the beginning of the movie. And I guess their father can't take care of them because he's out of the country. So Camilla, their mother's work friend, brought their kids to their aunt's place. I don't know where their grandparents are. Do they have grandparents? I guess all 4 of their grandparents are dead. So I guess their aunt is the only person available that could possibly look after these kids. Their aunt is obviously apprehensive because she knows about this mirror monster. Claire has this stuffed bunny that she carries around with her. It's a way for her to cope with the PTSD that she's suffering from since her mother died.
Claire, do you mind asking UCB if she understands the rules? She says she does.
Aunt Beth has this boyfriend named Charles. All four of them are eating dinner, and Claire has a deadly peanut allergy, and there's peanut butter in the soup. So she starts dying. So Olivia rushes and gets a empty bed and stabs Olivia. And then Olivia's like, oh shit, I probably should have told you guys about my sister's deadly allergy. Oh, it must have just slipped my mind. And Claire doesn't like to talk, I guess. She likes to speak through her bunny. But that whole thing ends in like 5 minutes. In the next scene, Olivia is washing her face, and she finds there's no mirror in the bathroom. She's like, oh, that's weird. So she starts to rip the wallpaper off to reveal the mirror. And they just moved into this place. That's kind of weird. Why would you go to someone's place that you hardly know, and then start ripping their wallpaper off? So yeah, Aunt Beth is covering the mirrors because she knows how deadly they are in this house. For some
Oh
unknown
nah, this is
reason,
he?
and we're
What the
never told
fuck?
why the creature inhabits the house. It just does. The only thing we know is that there's a monster that lives in the mirrors and tries to convince people to let it take over their bodies. That's all we know. Claire is woken up in the middle of the night and told by her bunny to go help her mom, who is in the basement. Like a dumbass, she goes to the basement to help her dead mom because her bunny told her to. So the bunny instructs Claire to go into her aunt's study, find a lockbox, and instructs her how to open it. Opening it up. It makes noise. And it goes big. She finds a key inside it and uses it to unlock the basement. Okay, so I guess the demon is talking through the bunny to convince Claire to do these things. And Claire trusts the bunny. You know, she loves the bunny. Lucy B is the name of the bunny. We stand Lucy B. So Claire is just wandering around the basement, and the ghost convinces her that it's her mom. And she's like, hey, I'm stuck in the mirror. You just say this sentence 3 times, and I will come back to life. And Claire has 2 brain cells, so she's like, wow, this must be true. Like, I know she's a kid and everything, but come on, dude. So she has to say this sentence 3 times. Mirror, mirror, open wide. Let this spirit come inside. It's cute because it rhymes.
Mirror, mirror, open wide. Let the spirit come inside.
And then the demon inhabits her body. I'm really ecstatic that the say 3 times thing is back. I'm pretty sure I spoke about this in a previous video. Saying something multiple times to make something happen is not interesting anymore. Please, just don't do that. Stop. The next morning, Olivia finds Claire hiding in a wardrobe. Claire shows Olivia an old newspaper headline that was in Aunt Beth's study. It tells us that Beth was sentenced to 15 years in a mental facility for the murder of her younger sister Angela, the girl in the beginning of the movie. If you read the newspaper's fine print, in the first sentence they wrote sentenced twice. I guess I didn't proofread this at all. Olivia calls Camilla and tells her about the newspaper article.
I just found an article saying that Aunt Beth murdered somebody.
So Aunt Beth discovers the lockbox has been opened, so she figures out that one of the kids must have been possessed by this demon. So at dinner, Aunt Beth is like, hey, I know I didn't want you guys to stay before, but I just randomly changed my mind now. I want you guys to stay. Please stay, so I can kill you.
I'm sure my father would want to get us right away. From what I've heard, your father's pretty hard to reach right now.
Yeah, she wants to kill them because that's the only way to get the demon out of their body. Apparently, according to these books that she has, there's always someone who has done a bunch of research on these demons and knows exactly how they work. Why can't we just have a demon that just works on its own accord? You know, when you have someone that knows exactly how the demon works and tells the people in the movie how the demon works and how to defeat it, it takes away a lot of the mystery, a lot of the appeal. I'm not saying it's a bad thing when the protagonists learn how to kill a monster, a demon, or ghost, or whatever, but maybe have them learn over time, you know? Like in The Ring, they didn't just learn exactly how the girl worked. They had to put the pieces together throughout the course of the film. It wasn't like, oh, 40 years passed, and now here's this expert on these demons. It's a lot less interesting that way. Olivia tells Beth that she doesn't really want to stay at their house much longer. Claire, being possessed by the demon, is like, hey, we should probably stick around this place. I guess the demon has to be in the house. I don't know how it works. house. They didn't explain it well at all. In these movies, the demon is always bound to a house, right? The whole haunted house, like a demon inside that possesses people, is so overdone. I think that might be the most overdone movie trope in existence. Obviously, these mirrors killed your sister when you were younger. Why wouldn't you just destroy the mirrors? Aunt Beth didn't try to destroy the mirrors. She didn't try to get rid of the mirrors. She just left them in the basement, like a little demon shrine. That's what I want in my house, a demon shrine. I guess going to the mental hospital gave her this craving to find a way to destroy the demon. But why, though? If you know what's in the mirrors, just get rid of the mirrors. Then you get rid of the demon. It's that simple. But just get through the fucking basement. The next morning, Claire is seen clawing at her stomach, repeating,
I want to get it out! I want to get it out! It all started on the corner of Briggs and 198th, when Mrs. Botticelli's hamster got loose, chewed its way through the wiring. It sent a surge of power that overwhelmed the grid, plunging New York into total darkness. We gotta do something. Like what? I'll think of something. Luckily, no one's got more grit than a group of kids with rare diseases. The crew was made up of Books, who wrote a thesis on quantum entanglement at 12, Sticks, who had perfect pitch, Gage, who could build an engine with toothpicks and bubblegum, Mad Hatter, who had 2 hats for every occasion, and Moose, who was strong as a moose. I have an idea. The plan was simple. Build a rocket, fly into space, take as many stars from Alpha Centauri as we could carry, and bring them back to light up the city just in time for the holidays. Moose lived next to Big G's auto, who had a generator, tools, and a workshop big enough to build a rocket for interplanetary space travel. I don't know if this is going to work. Space. We don't like this. Venus. On December 23rd at 6:26 p.m., the rocket lifted off from the workshop. Dave set the coordinates. Moose guided the craft into orbit, and Moose supervised. That's not a sound you want to hear in space. We need more power. They're beautiful.
"Where are you, little star?"
Release the nebula.
Let's go. Yes, probably later.
So you have the demons inside of her, and the part of her that still remains is trying to get it out, I guess. Aunt Beth tells Olivia to wait in the car, and they will bring Claire out and bring her to the hospital. So Olivia goes out to the car and finds a massive revolver and a steak knife in the car. So yeah, I guess Aunt Beth's plan was to kill Claire, to get the demon out of Claire. The only conclusion she came to was just gotta kill the